You know what's terrifying? When someone looks you in the eye and genuinely believes they're untouchable, not because they're smarter, not because they're stronger, but because of who they married. And what's even more terrifying, when they find out they were wrong the entire time. This is the story of a woman who walked into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, wearing a designer suit and a shield that didn't exist. She thought her husband's diplomatic post meant she could walk away from anything: a crime, a victim, the truth. But she didn't know three things. 1. Diplomatic immunity has limits. 2. Judge Caprio doesn't care what your last name is. And 3. The State Department was watching. By the time she left that courtroom, her husband's career was over, her freedom was gone, and a 68-year-old war hero had shown her what real honor looks like. Let me tell you how it all fell apart. It started with a crash, Thursday afternoon, quiet neighborhood in Providence. A black Range Rover blows through a stop sign at 45 miles per hour. Doesn't slow down, doesn't hesitate, just slams into a parked Toyota Camry. The impact is brutal. Airbags explode, metal crumples, the Camry spins across the pavement and crashes into a fire hydrant. Water erupts everywhere. Inside a nearby store, a 68-year-old man hears the sound. His name is James Park, Korean War veteran, Purple Heart, Bronze Star, Battle of Chosin Reservoir survivor. He's buying mobility equipment for his wife Susan, who just had hip surgery. That Camry? That's his car. The car they need to get Susan to physical therapy 3 times a week. James rushes outside. The Range Rover is still there. Driver's door open, and standing next to it, a woman in expensive clothes, stumbling slightly, inspecting her damage. Not his, hers. Security footage captures it all. She circles her SUV for 45 seconds, checks the bumper, touches the dent, looks around. Then she gets back in and drives away. No note. No phone call, no, I'm sorry, just gone. Within 30 minutes, police track her down. The Range Rover leads them to a mansion. Not just any mansion. The British ambassador's residence. Officers knock on the door, and when it opens, the woman from the footage is standing there, visibly drunk, slurred speech, smell of alcohol, unsteady on her feet. Officer Martinez tries to conduct a field sobriety test, but before he can even finish the instructions, she cuts him off. I have diplomatic immunity. I'm the wife of the British ambassador. You have no authority over me. Leave immediately, or I will have you reported. She doesn't ask what happened. She doesn't ask if anyone was hurt. She just threatens him. Officer Martinez tries again. Ma'am, you're suspected of leaving the scene of an accident. I said leave. Within minutes, embassy lawyers arrive. They block the investigation. They block the breathalyzer. They block everything. For 3 days, it's a standoff. Police can't touch her. She's hiding behind her husband's title. And she knows it, but then the State Department steps in. And they say 5 words that change everything. She does not have immunity. 6 days later, she's arrested, released on $50,000 bail. And now, she's standing in Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom. Her name is Victoria Ashford, 42 years old, wife of British Ambassador Sir James Ashford. Purple Chanel suit, gold jewelry, designer sunglasses indoors. Everything about her screams, I don't belong here. Judge Caprio calls the case. He looks at the charges. DUI causing property damage, leaving the scene, failure to render aid, obstruction of justice. He looks up. Mrs. Ashford, how do you plead? Her attorney stands immediately. Your Honor, my client is the wife of the British ambassador and is protected by diplomatic immunity. This court lacks jurisdiction. Judge Caprio doesn't blink. Mr. Whitmore, the State Department already ruled your client's conduct is not covered by diplomatic immunity. Unless you have a federal court order stopping me, We're moving forward. That's when Victoria stands up and says the words that seal her fate. Your Honor, I understand perfectly, but you need to understand something. I am the wife of the British ambassador. I have diplomatic immunity. This entire proceeding is a waste of everyone's time and an embarrassment to diplomatic relations. The courtroom goes silent. Did she just lecture Judge Caprio? Judge Caprio takes off his glasses. Slowly. Mrs. Ashford, I've been on this bench for over 30 years. Please, sit down. But she's not done. Your Honor, one phone call to the State Department and this entire matter will disappear. Now it's personal. Mrs. Ashford, are you threatening this court? I'm simply stating facts. Sit down, Mrs. Ashford. She sits. But the damage is done. If you're not subscribed, hit that button, because what happens next will show you what real immunity looks like. Judge Caprio looks across the courtroom. Where is Mr. Park? The prosecutor gestures toward an elderly man in the back row. Small frame, simple clothes. Korean War veteran cap, cane in hand. Mr. Park, would you please stand? James Park stands slowly, with quiet dignity. Judge Caprio nods. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your service. Thank you. Your Honor. Judge Caprio turns to Victoria. Mrs. Ashford, do you see that man? He's 68 years old. He's a Korean War veteran. 6 days ago, you crashed into his car and drove away. You didn't leave a note. You didn't check if he was okay. You just left. He signals the clerk. Let's see the footage. The screen flickers, and then everyone watches. The Range Rover speeding, blowing the stop sign, slamming into the Camry, the spin, the crash, the water spraying, Victoria stumbling out, inspecting her damage, looking around, getting back in, driving away. Judge Caprio pauses the video. Mrs. Ashford, that's you, correct? Yes, Your Honor, but there is no but. You hit Mr. Park's car and drove away. That's a crime. Her attorney tries to step in. Your Honor, my client was in shock. Judge Caprio doesn't even look at him. The footage shows 45 seconds examining damage. That's plenty of time to leave a note. Why didn't you stay? Victoria lifts her chin. I panicked. I'd had wine at lunch. I intended to report it later. You drove away drunk, then claimed diplomatic immunity when police arrived. That's not panic, Mrs. Ashford. That's calculation. Officer Martinez takes the stand. He plays the body cam audio. Victoria's voice comes through the speakers, slurred, hostile, arrogant. I have diplomatic immunity. I'm the wife of the British ambassador. Leave immediately, or I will file a formal complaint. Judge Caprio stops the audio. Mrs. Ashford, that audio was recorded 90 minutes after the accident. You weren't in shock. You were threatening a police officer. Then James Park takes the stand, and everything changes. Your Honor, I served in the Korean War, 1950 to 1953. Battle of Chosin Reservoir. Wounded twice, Purple Heart, Bronze Star. His voice is steady, humble. After the war, I worked as a mechanic for 40 years. My wife Susan had hip surgery last month. She needs our car for physical therapy 3 times a week. His voice catches. 6 days ago, I was buying equipment for Susan. When I came out, my car was destroyed. He pauses. The car is totaled. Our deductible is $500. That's 3 months of groceries on our fixed income. Judge Caprio leans forward. Mr. Park, has Mrs. Ashford contacted you to apologize? James shakes his head. No, Your Honor, no one has. Judge Caprio looks at Victoria. Mrs. Ashford, do you have anything to say to him? Her attorney stands. I've advised my client not to make statements. I'm not asking for a statement. I'm asking if your client, as a human being, has anything to say to a Korean War veteran whose car she destroyed. Silence. Victoria says nothing. Judge Caprio stands. He walks to the front of the courtroom. Mrs. Ashford, I have seen thousands of defendants. Most show remorse. But you are 10 feet away from a man who served in one of our most brutal wars. You destroyed his car, left him with a $500 bill he can't afford. And you can't even apologize, because your lawyer told you not to. He pauses. You've spent so much time in diplomatic circles that you've forgotten what accountability means. Titles don't make you better than anyone. They're not shields for avoiding human decency. Mr. Park hasn't threatened anyone. He just wants his car fixed and an apology. And you can't give him that. Then Victoria makes the worst decision of her life. She reaches into her purse, pulls out her phone, and starts dialing. Judge Caprio's voice cuts through the room. Mrs. Ashford, what are you doing? I'm calling my husband. This has gone far enough. He needs to contact the State Department and end this circus. Circus. She just called his courtroom a circus. Mrs. Ashford, put that phone away, immediately. But she doesn't. She holds it to her ear. James, I need you to call the State Department right now. This local judge is bailiff. Retrieve Mrs. Ashford's phone, immediately. The bailiff takes the phone. Victoria protests. You can't do this. I'm calling my husband. Mrs. Ashford, you just committed contempt of court. You attempted to interfere with judicial process. Then, Judge Caprio says the words that will end her husband's career. Mrs. Ashford, you wanted to involve the State Department? I'm going to give you exactly what you wanted. He looks at the clerk. Contact the United States Department of State, Office of Foreign Missions. Get me the director on the line, now. Victoria's face goes white. Within minutes, a voice comes through the speakerphone, professional, calm, authoritative. This is Director Patricia Morrison, Office of Foreign Missions, State Department. Am I speaking with Judge Frank Caprio? Yes, Director Morrison. I have you on speakerphone in Providence Municipal Court. We're hearing Victoria Ashford's case. She's repeatedly claimed diplomatic immunity and just tried calling her husband to have him contact your office. He pauses. Does Mrs. Ashford have diplomatic immunity for this conduct? Everyone holds their breath. Director Morrison's response is clear. Judge Caprio, I've reviewed this case personally. The Vienna Convention does not protect family members from prosecution for serious crimes unrelated to diplomatic functions. Driving under the influence, leaving an accident scene, and obstructing police are serious offenses unrelated to Ambassador Ashford's duties. She pauses. Mrs. Ashford does not have diplomatic immunity. The courtroom erupts. Victoria looks like she's about to faint. But Director Morrison isn't finished. Furthermore, I want to make something clear for the record. The State Department does not appreciate diplomatic status being used as a shield for criminal behavior. Such conduct damages diplomatic relations, Judge Caprio continues. Director Morrison, Mrs. Ashford tried calling her husband during proceedings to intervene. Is that appropriate? Absolutely not. That's highly inappropriate. If Ambassador Ashford attempts to influence this case, that would be a serious matter we'd address directly with him. If I impose sentence, will the State Department support that decision? Judge Caprio, you have full authority. Mrs. Ashford is subject to Rhode Island law like any other resident. The call ends. Silence. Judge Caprio removes his glasses. Mrs. Ashford, you heard Director Morrison. The State Department confirmed you have no immunity. Do you understand? Victoria is crying now. Mascara running down her face. Your Honor, I didn't mean... You have one more chance. Do you have anything to say to Mr. Park? Victoria turns, her voice shaking. Mr. Park, I'm so sorry. I made terrible decisions. I'm sorry for damaging your car and not staying to help. It's genuine, but it's too late. James Park nods. Hurt is still visible in his eyes. Judge Caprio announces the sentence. Victoria Elizabeth Ashford, I find you guilty of all charges. DUI, $5,000 fine. 1-year license suspension. Leaving the scene, $2,500 fine, 60 days jail. Failure to render aid, $1,000 fine. Obstruction, $2,000 fine. Contempt of court, $3,000 fine, 30 days jail. Total, $13,500 and 90 days in jail, beginning immediately. Full restitution to Mr. Park, $15,800. Formal written apologies to Mr. Park, Officer Martinez, and Providence Police. Victoria sobs. Her attorney protests. But Judge Caprio cuts him off. Mr. Whitmore, your client drove drunk, destroyed a veteran's car, fled the scene, threatened officers, claimed immunity, and then tried calling her husband in my courtroom. 90 days is merciful. He looks at Victoria. Mrs. Ashford, you believed your husband's title made you special. But Mr. Park is special. He served in combat. You'll have 90 days to think about the difference between privilege and character. As officers take Victoria away, she looks at James Park one last time. Mr. Park, I truly am sorry. James Park stands, with that same quiet dignity. Mrs. Ashford, I accept your apology. I hope you learn from this. His Grace breaks something in her. She nods, and she's led away. Within 48 hours, the State Department call goes viral. Millions of views. 2 days later, Ambassador Ashford makes a public announcement. My wife's conduct was unacceptable. I cannot represent my country while my family has dishonored these principles. I am requesting reassignment. His diplomatic career is over. Victoria serves all 90 days, completes counseling, writes genuine apologies. When she's released, she does something unexpected. She meets James Park in person, hands him a check for $15,800. Mr. Park, I spent 90 days thinking about privilege versus character. You have character. I didn't. James takes the check. Mrs. Ashford, we all make mistakes. What matters is what we do after. Good luck. 1 year later, Victoria writes to Judge Caprio from the UK. She's working with a veterans charity now. Her letter says this: Judge Caprio changed my life. Not with punishment, but with truth. He showed me that service, sacrifice, and character make people special. Not titles, not money, not who you're married to. Comment character if this story reminded you what really matters. Because here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Your title doesn't make you untouchable. Your privilege doesn't make you special. And when you stand in front of someone like James Park, someone who gave everything for people like you, your armor disappears. Victoria thought diplomatic immunity meant she was above the law. But Judge Caprio showed her something stronger than any immunity: accountability. And James Park showed her something even stronger than that: grace. He didn't demand revenge. He didn't humiliate her. He just wanted what was right. And when she finally gave it to him, he forgave her. That's the difference between privilege and character. That's the courage of director Patricia Morrison, who put justice above politics. That's the wisdom of Judge Frank Caprio, who reminded us that in his courtroom, everyone is equal. And that's the legacy of James Park, a man who served his country in war and showed mercy in peace. If this story moved you, subscribe for more moments where justice isn't just served, it's earned. And remember, no title, no status, no marriage will ever place you above doing what's right.